Okay, fifth graders, 9-5. And here's what we're doing in 9-5. Instead of dividing whole numbers, let's say 1/2, instead of dividing whole numbers, let's say 5, divided by 1/2. So all of you should know now that that's just simply 5 times 2. And so the answer to that would be 10. Okay? So instead of doing that, we're now dividing fractions, like 1/2, divided by whole numbers, by 5. All right? And the difference is, instead of the answer being a whole number, it's going to be much smaller. It's going to be a fraction, because think about it. We're taking a half and we're cutting it up into 5 smaller pieces. So instead of the answer being 10, like it was here, the answer would be 1/10. And again, you can just look at what's 2 times 5. Well, 2 times 5 is 10. So that still comes into play. But 1/2 cut into 5 smaller pieces, those little pieces would be 1/10. As opposed to 5 being divided by 1/2. All right? So that's the biggest difference in this section. We are now dividing fractions by whole numbers. That's the difference. So let's look at the first example they give us here. They're talking about there was a half a pan of cornbread is left over. A half a pan of cornbread was left over. And Ann, Beth, and Chuck are sharing the leftovers equally. What fraction of the cornbread does each person get? Well, so it would be 1/2 divided by 3. And so now, I just explained it, a minute ago. What would you do? It's going to be 2 times 3, which is what? 6. But think about it, it's going to be a much smaller piece because we're dividing a half, a fraction, by a whole number. So it's going to be, the answer is 1/6. You just multiply 2 times 3, and the answer is 1/6, and they show you that there. Let's see here. And they show you another way using a number line. You can certainly use that if that helps. Let's look down at the convince me. What does that say? That says, in the example above, how is dividing 3 by the same as multiplying by 1/3? They both separate a number, whether it's a fraction or a whole number, into 3 equal parts. Okay. All right, let's look at number 1 here on the guided practice. Number 1. What's it say here? It says, suppose in the example at the top of page 402, that's the example we were looking at with the cornbread, that 4 people were sharing half the cornbread equally. What fraction of the cornbread would each person get? So what are we talking about here? We're talking about 1/2, half the cornbread, being divided by 4. What do you know now? 2 times 4. What's that? 8. But it's 1/8, because remember, we're taking a fraction, a smaller number, a fraction of a whole number, and we're making it even smaller because it's being cut up 4 ways. All right? Number 2, when you divide a unit fraction, remember, unit fraction is any fraction with a 1 as the numerator. Okay? By a non-zero whole number, so they're just talking about a whole number, anything but 0, greater than 1. Will the quotient, that's the answer, be greater than or less than the unit fraction? Less than. It's always going to be less than the unit fraction. I mean, look at it. 1/2 is smaller than 1/8. And that's always going to be true. It's always going to be less than. Okay, find each quotient. Use the picture or objects to help. Well, you can do that if you want, if it helps you. I'm looking at this here. Number 3, 1/4 divided by 2. Well, what's 4 times 2? 8. 1/8. How about number 5 here? 1/2 divided by 2. What's 2 times 2? 4. So it's 1/4. Okay? Pretty easy peasy stuff, you guys. Whoa, went too far. Holy cow. I'll get it. I'll get it. Hang on. Hang on. All right. Let's see here. In 7 and 8, find each quotient. Use the picture or objects to help. You can use them to help if you want. You guys should be able to do 7 and 8. I don't need to help you with those anymore. And 9 through 14, yeah, you can do these. Number 14, what's 14 here? 1/5 divided by 3. What's 5 times 3? That's 15. So it's 1/15. Because think about it. It's a fifth of something, and that's being further divided into three ways or 3 parts. All right? All right, let's go to the problem solving. What do we got here? Vin, Corey, Alexa, and Joe equally share 1/4 of a submarine sandwich. Oh man, that's not much of a sandwich. What fraction of the original sandwich does each friend get? Use the number line to help. Okay. So how many people are we talking about? Talking about 4 people. All right. So these 4 friends, I wouldn't be much of a friend because I don't think I'd want to share my 1/4 of a sandwich. That's not much of a sandwich. All right. They're sharing 1/4. So it's 1/4 divided by 4. What's 4 times 4? 16. 1/16. There's your answer. Number 16, Sue has a 1/2 gallon of milk to share evenly among 4 people. Yeah, they're giving you some good clues here. 1/2 gallon, 4 people. You can do 16. 17, Taryn? Taryn? What a weird name. Sorry. If anybody watching this, their name is Taryn, says that 1/4 of a cereal bar is larger than 1/3 of a cereal bar. Is she correct? Explain. 1/4 of a cereal bar is larger than 1/3 of a cereal bar. Well, let me see here. What's the best way for me to show you guys this? I'm going to draw a line here. Okay. This is 0 and this is 1. So where would a 1/2 be? And I'll use blue for the cereal bar. Let me well, I'll use blue for a 1/4. Okay. So where's a 1/2? Okay. So there's going to be 1/2 right there. And so if I was cut the 1/2 in half, that would be a 1/4, right? So there's 1/4. And then 3/4 would be right about there. 3/4. Remember, there's 4 quarters, and 1 is equal to 4 over 4. All right. So there we have our 1/2, and our 1/4, and our 3/4. So I'm going to highlight the 1/4 here, and then I'll use red or pink for the what's the other one? 1/3. I'll use the pink here. 1/3. Okay, so where's a third in in this number line. We're dividing it into thirds. There's going to be 3 equal parts. So 1/3 would, I don't know, would be right about there. I'm going to put 1/3. 2/3 would be, I don't know, probably right about here. Here's 2/3. And what would 3/3 be? Well, 3/3 is equal to 1. So that would be right there. All right? So I'll use pink again. Where's 1/3? 1/3's right here. So which is larger? Okay? All right, well, I just showed you. You write it out, you explain which is larger. Is she correct? And explain if she's correct or not. Okay? All right, so then for number 18, let's take a look here. On Saturday, Amir ran 1 3/4 miles, and then Janie ran 2.5 miles. Who ran further? And how much further? Write an equation to find D, which they're calling the difference of the two differences. In other words, how much further apart is one from the other? What's the difference between the two? You're going to have to subtract one from the other. So let me set this up for you here. So here's, well, it should be pretty obvious that the 2.5 is larger. So we're going to subtract 1 3/4 from that. All right. What's the common denominator? Man, you guys haven't thought about that for a while, huh? What's the common denominator between 2 and 4? Well, you should recognize that it's 4. All right. And I'm not going to help you any more with that. Let's see if you guys can do number 18 on your own. Number 19. 5 friends equally share half of one large pizza and 1/4 of another large pizza. What fraction of each pizza did each friend get? And how do the two amounts compare to each other? Well, first off, let's deal with the 5 friends, and they equally share half of one large pizza. So what's that? 5 friends, that's going to be 1/2 divided by the 5 friends equals something. And then they share, I'm gonna highlight that in pink. That's 5 friends equally share half of one large pizza. Okay? And then 1/4 of another large pizza. All right, so I'm going to just highlight that in blue. And then 1/4 of another large pizza. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do 1/4 divided by 5 equals. And that one's going to answer that question. That's in blue. And it says, what fraction of each pizza did each friend get? Well, you're going to have to solve. You're going to have to solve these two. You have to solve that one and solve that one, and then you can answer that question. And then it says, how do the two amounts compare to each other? Well, once you have this amount here and this amount here, then you compare the two. Okay. All right. Last but not least, 20 and 21. You guys should be able to do those. Jamie cut a rope into thirds. He uses 2 of the pieces to make a swing. So if somebody cuts something into thirds and they use 2 of the thirds, what would that be? Well, yeah, it'd be 2/3. I'm just trying to help you out here. And he used equal lengths of the leftover rope on 4 picture frames. What fraction of the original rope did he use for each picture frame? So what's left over? It was 1/3, right? Because he used 2/3 for something else, and he's using 1/3 on 4 picture frames. So it's going to be 1/3, what? Divided by 4 equals. And then you'll find your answer. All right, I'll let you do 21 on your own. That's it. I will see you guys. Wow, I kept it under 15 minutes. Whew. I'll see you guys Monday.